This lesson will be an overview of the ELA section on the SHSAT.
Alright, so let's take a look at the revising or editing type questions. So let's read the directions now. This way on the test we could save some time and not have to read it. So read the passage below and answer the questions following it. You will be asked to improve the writing quality of the passage and to correct errors so that the passage follows the conventions of standard written English. You may reread the passage if you need to. Mark the best answer for each question. Alright, so here we have a passage. We have each line is going to be numbered. After you read the passage, there are going to be accompanying questions. So, for example, which edit is needed to correct sentence 3? So it might be a verb error or a subject error or some other grammatical error. You have to identify it and then fix it, just like you were fixing your own essay. Another type of question is, what's the best way to combine sentences 4 and 5 to clarify the relationship between ideas? So this might have to do with a transition, or as if it's more of the same or contrasting. So you want to make the relationship between the two sentences clear, and of course it has to be grammatically correct. Here's another example. Which sentence would best follow sentence 6 to support the argument presented in the passage? So, based on the argument presented, what could be added to the paragraph to support that argument? Then we have more questions having to do with adding information, transitions, and other types of grammatical corrections. Another type of question in the language section is revising or editing standalone items. So instead of looking at a passage as a whole and making corrections, you could be presented with single sentences or a single paragraph and asked to make changes to it. So let's read the directions now, so we're familiar with it, and then we don't have to read it on the actual test. Read and answer each of the following questions. You will be asked to recognize and correct errors in sentences or short paragraphs. Mark the best answer for each question. And the errors could be punctuation errors, could be verb errors, grammatical errors. So sometimes the answer choices give us a hint. So here we see it's going to be a punctuation error, there's a comma missing. Then in this question we have a paragraph, and the question is which sentence should be revised to correct a misplaced modifier. So there's a misplaced modifier and we have to make a change to a sentence. We don't have to identify the change, but just identify which sentence has to be changed. And of course these are just two examples, but just know that there are going to be some standalone questions also. Alright, let's look at the reading passages. So let's read the directions first. Read each passage below and answer the questions following it. Base your answers only on information contained in the passage. You may reread a passage if you need to. Mark the best answer for each question. So this is important, only on the information contained in the passage. So you may know about a topic and have some background information, but do not let that sway your answer choice. You have to base your answer only on what's in the passage. So this is an example of a non-fiction passage. It's possible in the future that there will be some fiction questions. So we're going to have a number of different types of questions following the passage. So you can read the passage. You could look at the questions first. We'll get into the strategy a little bit in our lessons. But you see we have a main idea type question. Then there are fact or detail questions. And then we also have inference questions. And here we have a word and context question, which could be vocabulary or simply how a term is used or what it refers to. And here I want to point out that we have 5 answer choices because this is an old example, but going forward there are actually only going to be 4 answer choices.